In this video, I'm going to speak about SSH passwordless authentication. Let me write it for you. SSH passwordless authentication. We have two Linux servers. One is my SSH client and another one is my SSH server. And I want to SSH from client to the server without entering the password. Here you can see my client, which is my web. This is my client, and the IP address of my client is 107, and my server is my backup, and you can see the IP address of my backup. It is 108. At first, I'm pinging from the web to the backup server. You can see they are connected, and I can ping it. I can ping the IP address of my backup server, and after that you can see I can SSH to the server using path, because it's the first time it's asking me, do you these are these fingerprints true or not? Yes, I'm sure this fingerprint is okay, and I enter the password. You can see I'm successfully connected to the server. But I wanted to SSH to my server using key instead of password. So at first, I'm going to exit from this server. To connect to the server, I need to create a key pair, my public key and the private key. This key pair would create in my SSH client using ssh-keygen command. You can see in all Linux it is installed when you install OpenSSH. No, this is by default. I think it is installed by default in all Linux. And if I look at the SSH directory in my home directory, you can see it is empty. I will delete this directory because by default there is no directory called SSH in the home folder. And I'm going to create a key pair, public and private key, using ssh-keygen command. This command will create two keys, my public and private key. I'm going to run this command without any parameter, but there are another parameter you can use with this command. Here you can see you can change the algorithm, encryption algorithm, or you can change the key size. But in this laboratory, I'm input this without any parameter, and you can see this is asking me, are you agree with default directory? I will accept its default directory, and this is my private key. It is asking me uh, enter a passphrase for the private key. It is my private key, and the public key in my SSH client. Here it is asking me if you want to enter any password for the private key. It means if you wanted to access this private key, you should know that password. ID RSA is my private key, and I can use a password to access to this private key. In your production, I strongly suggest you use a password for your private key. And you can see my public key and the private key is created in the default directory. This is my default directory in my home. This is my private key, and it is my public key. Before continue, I will show you I can log into my server without password, but I need a command to transfer public key to the server authorized for. Let me clear the screen. I don't need the clean line. And okay, you can see I can log into the backup server using password. Here I'm accepting the fingerprint, and this is my, you can see I can log in using password, but I wanted to log in the server without entering the password. I have to transfer the public key which is created by ssh-keygen command. After transferring my public key to the server, if those keys match, I can log in to the server without entering the password. Let me write command here for you. You can see I use this command ssh-keygen to create public and private key, and I'm going to use ssh copy ID to transfer my public key to the server. And before that, I will show you there is a noun host and ID and my private key and my public key, but in the backup server, I will show you in the SSH directory, no file is here. And this is my known host. I'm going to transfer to copy my public key. I will show you the created public key. This is the public key, and I will transfer this file, copy this file to the file to my server called authorized key. I'm using ssh-keygen command to copy this file to my server. At this step, I should enter the backup server's user password. After entering the password of user, if this mm, if this shows on your screen, you can this means you successfully copy your copy ID, and if you enter this command, you can log into the server without any password. You can see I successfully log in to the server, and I can show you this file is created after running that command ssh-keygen, and I'm going to show you this is my public key, and you can see this file is copied. This is my public key, and this file copied to the authorized key in the backup server. Let's look at into this file. Yes, you can see this file is this file copied to the server using ssh-keygen command. You can see there are the same. Okay, I will write this command here. ssh-keygen command and user and IP address of the server. Let me clear the screen. And we have another server here. It is my laptop. I mean, I have another SSH client. And in the second client, we have another keeper. You can see the IP address of my system. It is the first IP address. It is my second client IP address, and I have the public and private key in the home directory. In the SSH directory, you can see this is my public key, and it is my username, and this is my system name. One way is using ssh-key command to copy the public key to server, and I will show you another way to copy this public key to the server. So I wanna SSH from my laptop. Let me show you in the presentation. We have another private key and public key, and I wanna SSH from second client to the server. Okay, at first I will show you I can SSH to the server using password. I'm connected to the server using password, but I will connect with this public key, not entering the password. So I will copy the public key. I can use SSH copy command, but I will use another way. I copy my public key and import it manually to the authorized file. This is my system public key, and that's it. After that, if I try to log into the server, it will log in without entering any password. That's it. In the next video, I'm going to explain more about mathematics behind this public and private key. I can successfully log into this server. Have a good day.